Good.
So, it should be on
Yep,
there.
here it is.
But I also have copies in case, I gave Jeannie a copy, but nobody else needs a copy.
Joe,
Yes.
where did they move the gateway?
The gateway.
The gateway used to be over at the old Madison School. I assume there is still a gateway.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. I was over there today. I just kind of drove around there again and looked at it, and that's gonna be such a great thing for Warsaw.
Yeah, we've been watching that develop. It's gonna be really nice. It's gonna fit well.
Yes.
All right,
Much-
well,
Much needed.
we've got a quorum, so I think we're gonna get started.
Give me that.
We'll call the Fire Territory Board meeting together to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Observe a moment of silence. All right, thank you. Hey, Scott, would you see if they want to come in here? So let the minutes reflect that we do have a quorum, and we have two members that are absent, Brandon Schmidt and Gordon Nash. Gene Stackhouse, Mike Clondaris, and Joe Tallmer are present. So we do have a quorum. We can continue the meeting. All votes will require a minimum of 3 votes. So the first item of business would be the administration of the oaths of office, and at this point, I will be giving the oaths of office to Gene Stackhouse and Mike Clondaris. So I'd ask them to stand and raise their right hands. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mike
Jeannie
Clondaris.
Stackhouse.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
And the Constitution of the State of Indiana.
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially, and diligently
impartially, and diligently
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Warsaw-Wayne Township Fire Protection Territory,
as a member of the Warsaw-Wayne Fire Protection Territory,
according to the law
according to the law
and the best of my ability.
and the best of my ability.
All right, thank you. I'll have you sign these, and we'll be two closer. All right.
Do you want me to sign those?
Yeah, sign those, pass that down. All right. So again, let the minutes reflect we do possess a quorum today. Item number 6 would be the approval of the minutes from the December 1st, 2020 meeting. Those minutes were presented
Sorry.
in board pack. I trust you had a chance to look through those. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? All right.
Mr. Mayor, I read the minutes, and I would make a motion to approve them as read, or as written.
All right. Is there a second to that?
I second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. And we will move into our reports, oral written communication. The first would be the fire department monthly activity report. That's been presented here. Aaron, did you want to say anything about that?
There's nothing out of the ordinary.
Aaron, you want to come up to the microphone? Are the microphones on there?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Is it on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. A few house fires we assisted with, and one or two in our initial districts. One that you don't usually see very often is a technical rescue, which was a structural collapse due to a house through a vehicle through a garage. So other than that, just aircraft standby for out at the airport is another one that you don't see very often in ours. Came out as airplane crash and turned out not to be much at all.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions on the activity report? All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Scott, thank you for joining us today. Go through the Lutheran EMS monthly report. Actually, this is for November.
Yep, and I went ahead and, just because I got this kind of in a little bit late, I went ahead and threw December's on there so you have the entire year's
Oh, good.
numbers on there. But for the month of November, we had 317 requests for an ambulance in Wayne Township. You can see the last kind of 3 months of the year, we kind of had an uptick of calls getting back kind of to our normal volume. We did end the year overall down about 1%. So things are so far tracking to stay back kind of at our normal volume. We took quite a hit to volumes, in quarter one and quarter two. As you can see there, most of our months are in the mid to high 200s when we're normally in the low 300 run volume a month. The next page is our call volume by hour of day. You can just kind of see there our kind of the average peak runtime volume. Really, we kind of sit there around 8 a.m. is kind of when we really start picking up and start dying off at about 8 p.m. Response time report there. You can see kind of the biggest notable is our dispatch to location, so kind of our response time. Our average for November was 5.01 minutes, and December was 4.76, so 4.93 minutes overall for the entire year of 2020. The next report, or the last one on there, is the responding station, so you can just see the various stations that have taken ambulance runs within Wayne Township. Any questions?
So this shows Warsaw Station 3 is responsible for about 35% of the runs. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so Station 3 takes about 35%. Our east station on Center Street's about 41%, and then the rest are usually between our outstations. And typically, when you see those outstations going on runs, they don't typically respond to Warsaw from those locations. We do dynamic posting based on how our system status is set up. So essentially, when all the Warsaw trucks go out, then the next truck, then Leesburg automatically moves down. And if that truck would go out, then Milford would move down. And if that truck would go out, then Bourbon would come in. So the system's designed to collapse into Warsaw, since that's obviously where our epicenter of calls for our service territory is.
Okay. So you said overall for the year, and these totals are on here, I see. So overall for the year, you said we're down 1%, roughly, the number,
Yes,
total,
yeah,
your total number of calls.
Yeah.
Does that show specifically on here anywhere?
No, that does not show.
Okay, you're just showing your total volumes for this year, and then you
Yeah.
just compared it to what you knew
Yeah.
about last year. How about Station 3? Can you tell how the run volumes are out of our fire station year to year?
That I could, but yeah, I'd have to do, I don't have that readily available.
Okay. Yeah, it might be good to see that,
Yep.
so. All right. Okay. Any questions? All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. So let the minutes reflect, Brandon Schmidt is here, and we must administer his oath of office before he can vote. So Brandon, I'd ask you to stand and raise your right hand. Oh, it's been a crazy day, no worries. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Brandon Schmidt, do solemnly swear
I, Brandon Schmidt, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and diligently
that I will faithfully, impartially, and diligently
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a member of the Warsaw-Wayne Township Fire Protection Territory
as a member of the Warsaw-Wayne Township Fire Protection Territory,
according to the law and to the best of my ability.
according to the law and best of my ability.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You may come and sign this and print your name on it and pass it down to Shirley. You guys have those other ones, we may as well. Did you take those down?
Here, just take those with you, please. Thank you.
All right. So again, let the minutes reflect, we now have 4 members present. Now that we have 3 members present, I think we're going to have to go back and vote on the approval of the minutes because I am not technically sworn in. I'm not able to swear myself in, and our attorney is not here to swear me in, so I cannot vote until I'm sworn in. But now that we have 3 voting members sworn in, we can go back and re-vote on the approval of the minutes from December 1st. So I'll ask if there's a motion to approve the minutes from December 1st.
So made.
Second.
All right, further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, so Shirley will have to correct the minutes that we voted. All right. And then I will not be able to vote for the rest of the meeting until I'm sworn in by city attorney or fire territory attorney. But I can't do myself. All right. So let's move on to item number 2, which is the fire department monthly expenditure reports, and these will require a vote. I don't know if, Aaron, are you prepared to present these or just take questions?
I can take questions, surely have the information.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
probably answer any questions.
All right, so we'll start with the operating fund 103. This has been presented. Are there any questions on the expenditures as presented?
There is just one thing I did want to mention in case they were questioning or wondering why they see a lot of the adjustments showing negatives out. For instance, like if you go back to the Wildman uniform, there's a lot of them negative and then they're back in there. They all relate to the COVID money that we were reimbursed back for. And if there was a claim that was submitted that part of it was COVID, Kelly had to reverse everything on that claim out.
I see.
And then put it back in to keep the COVID separate. So
Okay.
that's why there's so many entries with a lot of them being negative. They're all COVID related.
I see. Yeah, there are quite a few.
Yeah.
Okay, but those were CARES Act
Right,
reimbursements.
Correct.
Okay,
And for instance, like, even though the fire department did not have any COVID related for Wildman uniform, if Kelly was explaining to me, if they all the different departments, if they would send one check, and there was one, HR would have a $10 rental, she had to back out every single item that was entered.
I
and
see.
then put it back in for like a $10 charge. So even though we did not personally, as a fire department, submit any wildland claims, if there was one on the entire check, that is why it's showing out and in for us also.
And there also appears to be some line 2 cuts. Are those?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
Those are
that was
spending-
our second submission of the line.
yes. So there's quite a bit of negative on there,
Yes,
primarily from reimbursements and primarily from line 2 cuts.
correct, yes.
Aaron, there's a
Yes, sir.
$1,700 for engine 13.3. Anything that holding up or you start to see some of this what for type?
No, actually, that is some general maintenance on the engine. It had some sensor issues,
Or really?
yes, which made it not run, and it took a lot of time to get it figured out. There was also a cabinet put in there to store equipment better. A couple seats were removed to put it in the back of the engine, because we're getting to the issue with the engines. There's a lot of stuff just in there for all the different jobs we do. So part of that $1,700 was probably also that shelf on 13.3. It is actually holding up pretty decent.
All right, any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the appropriations from the operating fund 103?
I'll make a motion.
All right, is there a second?
I would second.
Excuse me. Mike, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And once again, I abstain, so the vote carries 3-0. All right, equipment replacement fund 410. There appears to be some expenditures there, rather significant expenditures. Appears to be on the new truck, has hit the books.
Yeah, the second payment on the squad 4, is that what you're referring to?
I believe
There for-
Smeel Holdings,
Yes, yes, that's the final payment.
384,493,
Yes.
okay. Duly noted. That seems to be about all that's on there.
How about the design collaborative for that?
That is, has to do with the Station 2 project or look at renovation. And once again, where it shows the 8,000 in and 8,000 out, that was reimbursable
Oh, I see.
through the CARES Act.
Okay.
So
Where's that, Brandon?
Very top.
page 1 of the
Oh, there it is.
appropriation detail history.
Got it. All right. So I guess there was two significant expenditures, the 8,000 design collaborative that was reimbursable by CARES Act. So that was in and out, or actually out and back in. And then the second payment you said on the fire truck.
And then the same with, on the next page, with J&K Communications with the
Mm.
dual band radios. That was also, that also qualified under the CARES Act for $9,300.
So
There it
are we all
is.
dual band now?
What's that?
Are we all dual band now?
Um,
Or are those just officers?
Not yet. The whole radio system also is going to be a big part of that also, to get everybody switched over so it's working well.
Does it show the reimbursement here from J&K?
But mostly, yes.
It
we do have
shows
the
it.
dual band radios go out.
Expended out, that was paid, I believe, when the state reimbursed the full, the remaining balance back to us. Or, it might, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
I guess, it might have been in the month before. Yeah, it's showing it expended out. I didn't check into that to see, but that was taken out of the 410, 445, 300 account.
So this minus expenditures, actually the reimbursement, correct?
Yes.
The minus
Yes.
9,300.
Yes,
So it was probably, like you said, last month, it was shown as an
Yes.
expenditure, and now it's a minus expenditure with the reimbursement. Okay? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because the balance went up.
yeah.
The balance increased. All right. So, any questions? Again, do you understand what's going on here? We're getting, the money is expended, but it's reimbursed by CARES Act money for COVID-related expenses. So this example that we were just talking about, the $9,300 for J&K, this is actually showing the money going back into the account. The balance was $446,000 starting out, and by the end of the month, it was $454,000. So the $9,300 put back in, raised that up. Which was similar to what Shirley was explaining on the 103. A lot of those were either line 2 cuts where the money was being put back, the spending was being put back in, or the reimbursement was occurring. So a lot of negatives. I've never seen that many negatives
Yeah,
on the,
it's a little misleading or
okay.
confusing.
So any further questions on the Equipment Replacement Fund 410? Is there a motion to approve? So moved by Brandon. Is there a second?
Second.
Mike? All right. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And I abstain. Passed 3-0. Item number 3 is the ISO Public Protection Classification. Aaron, what can you tell us about that?
The ISO classification, just here in your packet, really doesn't go far enough to explain what 4 fire chiefs over the last 20 years has done for the community. A vision starting out with Chief Warren, through Chief Reif, Chief Brubaker, and then with Chief Wilson, to go from, I believe we used to be a 7 under Chief Warren, down to a 2. Which, again, the vision of the fire chiefs, setting the path with the training that we have, the equipment, testing a fire hose, our engines, our ladder, staffing that has been provided, has come together to this Class 2 rating. Quite the undertaking in the time it has. And if you go back from when we were a Class 7 to a Class 2, there is an insurance savings to the residential properties, which are commercial properties, a huge savings in that drop. The ISO does represent and establish that you are running 3 engines and a ladder truck to fires. That's where that comes from. Looking at some of the stuff in the report, one thing that we see as far as helping boost our next rating is keeping better times for all of our responding apparatus. We fall under NFPA 1710, and that gives us how much time we should be getting to a house that's on fire, to an EMS run, the different calls, how many people should be there. And right now, our systems in place do not track times for everyone very well. They track times for just one unit. Whereas if we can break these times out better, we will see a better score under that. So they see how well we are actually meeting the 1710 standard.
All right, so this was actually announced in late August. And this is kind of an end-of-year accomplishment that Chief wanted to get on the agenda today.
It's huge.
Yes. All right. This is just for the city, correct? Or is this
No,
for
this
the
is,
entire
this is anybody that the territory.
the fire
covers.
territory?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. You will see that 5-mile stipulation in there that separates from going to a 2 back up to a higher rating. And that's just how close you live to a fire station. And that says
From a 2 to a
lot.
what? What are these? What's
To
the
a fire station.
No, what's the surrounding classification? A 7? Is that what you said?
We started out as 7.
No, no. We're 2 now.
Oh, 2.
Beyond 5 miles, what is it?
Let me look here.
Did you say a 5 or a 7?
210 is what it says, so it is a 10.
A 10?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is within the fire territory, we're at 2. And then there's a
The-
5-mile halo around that?
The 5-mile around the fire station. So before you added Station 3, those 5-mile circles started up here on Center
I see.
Street. But where you put Station 3, that tremendously helped.
Does that cover our entire fire territory?
No, we're the southwest corner is still left out because of where it's distance from a fire
So
station.
roughly what percentage of the fire territory is now at 2? Roughly, just
Yeah, I'm gonna look at 80%.
80%?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Your northwest and your southwest are,
That's all dictated by the radius?
yep.
Okay. And again, just for clarification, we improved from a 3 to a 2,
4 to a 2 this time.
4 to a 2 this
Yes.
time, 4, okay.
Yes. Overall, when the project was started, probably from a 7 to a 2.
So what do you attribute the improvement this, from a 4 to a 2?
This time,
Most important, what was probably the biggest factor?
training records and the ability to shuttle water with tankers.
I see.
Yep, and the manpower. The manpower is a huge part of your ISO rating.
So to get to that rating of a 1, I see that there's, 5.74 points.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna get us there? Is it adding that manpower?
Yes, so your biggest is keeping your rating, okay? And having that 3 engines and a ladder truck available to respond to a fire. Some of the plans we are looking at next is the response times. That's gonna be huge in helping with this. The next one we are working towards this year, and it's gonna start out with a inspector class. So all of our people, or a majority of our people, could go out and inspect buildings with Inspector Fretz. Because right now, Inspector Fretz is our only building inspector for the city and the territory, which makes it tough for him to get to every building with all of his duties. So we're gonna work on this company inspection program that now our firefighters and our company officers, when they go out to do a pre-plan, they will also be able to assist Inspector Fretz on doing an inspection. So now, instead of only getting to a building maybe every couple years, we are hoping to be able to hit every building once a year, which will really help with this ISO rating. And then with the county radio program, we're hoping that with that, plus the first due that we use for our call dispatch on iPads and tracking times better with that, those are the 2 things that we've identified for this year to focus on to really assist with hopefully bringing this down even farther. But the manpower is going to be the important one because, Brandon, as you know, when we get past that June, July and the vacations start hitting in, that's when our manpower really starts to drop. And the part-time program has helped supplement the loss of our people for vacation days or sick days. But it's one thing that we're going to have to really keep an eye on as we move forward.
Is there any kind of
there is tangible to the insurance cost. That's where it's at. Getting all of that documentation, and like I said, the journey from, or in your ISO rating takes time. And that's why I give credit to all those fire chiefs that kept that vision. Because going from that 7 down to a 2 and maybe even looking at a 1, when you are looking, especially with all the growth you're trying to get with industry, is going to be huge when they look at that and the abilities that the fire department has.
That's part of the drug as well.
Yes,
They
huge.
what's so hard as part of that is having the diverse services that are,
Yes.
that match the growth and the needs.
We get a lot of calls asking where people's property falls in relationship to our fire department, because they know they get a lower rate. We at one time had an industrial building that their insurer called us and asked about, oh, hey, you guys cover this building. We said, no, we don't. That's not in our area. And for years, they had said, oh, the Warsaw Fire Department covers us, because that benefit of the lower insurance rate was such a big benefit to them. They are now part of the city after the last annexation, but it's huge when you look at your fire department as far as the industry goes.
According to the math here, it looks like we're only just over, slightly over 4% of the communities that are rated achieved a 2. So we're in a very upper echelon of communities that provides the service and protection for not only for our residents, but for our businesses as well.
Yeah.
With what we've done. So that's all good stuff, and I think it was good to bring that out and make sure that didn't go unnoticed this year.
Yeah.
And I know that, as you suggested, there are benefits, or the insurance rates do reduce as the classification, the ISO rating goes down as well. So
Yes.
those are the tangible benefits in the insurance rate, that fire ratings that people pay. So, all right, questions?
It's a great report.
Comes with a lot of work though.
Comes with a lot of work, yes it does.
You know, again, just kind of in summary, you can see, I think it's on that top page, that the first page, out of the, looks like 100 points, 50, 90, 105 points. 10 of those are for communications, 50 are for fire department operations, about 40 are just the water supply system. So obviously the fire department operations is the most critical factor in ISO, but close behind is the water supply system, 40 of those 105 points. So that's all good stuff.
Goes.
I would also add that people mentioned the training records. I know 4 years ago when I was getting ready, actually about 6 years ago, there was about 10 years worth of records that we had, and I had turned in to get college credit, and I had over 10,000 hours of documented training hours in just 10 years. And so having those training records started, after I already had who knows how many hours, but our guys train a lot, and the community sees them out driving trucks around and thinks they're just at lunch, but a lot of times they're training. So
Yes.
it's super important, and so yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move into, with no unfinished business, let's move into new business. We have the need to appoint a recording secretary. I would ask if there's any nominations from the floor for recording secretary. Shirley, you can't say anything.
Well, I would nominate Shirley if she'll do it.
And I would second. Would be happy to.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed 3-0 with myself abstaining. The second would be the appointment of the fire territory attorney, which I believe we probably will want to consider who we have in the past, but I will leave that up to the board. Is there a motion to appoint or nominate someone as our fire territory attorney?
Well, is he willing to serve? He's not here to answer for himself.
Typically, that's when people get voted in.
Okay. Then let's have our way with him. I would renominate Andrew Grossnickel.
All right. Second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? And I abstain, passed 3-0. All right.
That's what happens when you don't show up, right?
Well, and I do believe we are also required to appoint our fire chief once a year, and I don't believe we did that last month. It's not on the agenda, but I think we need to take that formal step. So I would ask if there's a nomination for our fire chief, and I suppose after that last presentation, it makes sense that we might consider Chief Wilson, but I'd leave that up to you all for that nomination. May make him sweat a little bit.
I've made the last two nominations. Does anybody else want to?
Oh, I make motion.
To approve, to appoint who?
Yeah,
Mike Wilson.
Mike Wilson.
All right. Is there a second?
sorry.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Again, I abstain. Passed 3-0. All right. I've got two more items here. We've got a expert care preventative maintenance contract with Zoll. Aaron, what can you tell us about Zoll?
This is on the EMS side of the house. We were lucky enough to get the new Zoll monitors last year, about a year and a half ago, I believe it was. Thanks to K21, they bought those for Syracuse, North Webster, ourselves. The benefit of having these is beyond essential. The monitors we were using, finally, they lost FDA backing. Everybody had to walk away from them and stop using them. We use these monitors, statistically right now, 72% of what we do is medical. We use these monitors almost every single medical call we make. My concern is that with the expensive toys, you have expensive maintenance, you have increased liability, you have concerns there if there's a failure, gosh forbid, in something that we're doing. Our guys just in December were involved in multiple cardiac arrests, and even several cardiac arrest saves. I'm hoping to have those numbers for you possibly at the next meeting. I just had to get some more data from Lutheran EMS, but I do have that now. So what I'm asking for is to hire an actual contractor to come in and do professional preventative maintenance on those monitors so that we're not absorbing that liability if something were to fail on the monitor during use. $1,000 seems like a lot, but when you consider that each monitor is about a $30,000 piece of equipment, $255 for each one is really not that much of an expense for a primary or preventive maintenance contract, in my mind. You guys are the ones with the money, but in my mind, it's not that big of an expense when it takes that weight off of us. And given, again, how much we use these things. We have 4 of them, 1 out of each house, and then I have one in the Tahoe that I use and make responses with, so it would be for each of those, and it would take care of us for a year.
And the contract is for 1 year?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay.
It's a 1-year contract.
Okay.
More questions? Is there a motion to approve
I would make a
contract
motion.
with Zoll Expert Preventative Maintenance Care?
I would make
Mike?
that motion, yes.
Is there a second?
Gladly.
Brandon, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, passed 3-0, and I abstained. Okay,
Thank you for that.
yes.
That's-
And there's one more here, an affiliation agreement with Parkview Health Systems. I don't know who wants to,
That's-
you want to discuss that too? I assume that would be
I'll take that one as well.
the EMS side, yeah.
What we've done is we're currently, I was talking to Mr. Clondaris earlier, we're currently doing our advanced EMT class. With any classes we do in the EMS field, you have to spend time in a hospital. That's called clinical hours. You have to do so much time with a hospital in the emergency department, seeing how they do things, working alongside them. We do already have an agreement with KCH. They are our sponsoring hospital. They're our medical director's hospital. A physician from there is actually in charge of us on what we do medically. What we've decided to do is, I think it makes us really good partners to the community to have partnerships with both hospitals in the community. They're both community facilities. So what we've said is, if our guys want to spend time at both hospitals when they're doing clinical hours, that'll be up to them. We've worked closely with KCH for a long time. We will continue to do that. We're not going to stop that agreement. But we want to give them the option, and we also want to be better partners to the other hospital in the city. So this really, it is, Mr. Clondaris asked about the length of the contract. It's a 3-year contract with them. It costs us nothing. It's really their time limit. That's just the kind of time limit they put on these things through their facility. But really what they're giving us permission to do by signing this is to send our students out there and see how they do things and work alongside them and become better partners to them. So I really don't see a downside to it, but it is obviously a legally binding agreement that we wanted to make sure that you guys were okay with before we went any further with it. Anytime somebody starts contracts and things like that, I think it's important for all of us to get our questions answered and make sure that we understand what we're doing. So that's why we presented it to you. We've already gone out and done some training for them on like the auto pulse devices that we have. They were curious. I went out and did some education with their staff. This is them reaching back to us and trying to open that door a little bit more. So I think it's a good idea, but again, that's up to you folks. So. But any questions you have, obviously I talked to Mr. Clondaris. Did I answer all of your questions?
Well, I think it's a fabulous idea, and what a great problem to have 2 community hospitals.
Yeah.
That they both want to work with us, and we want to work with them, and the idea that they're committing to allowing you to come out there and use their facilities for the next 3 years, boy, that's fabulous.
Chris, how many hours a year is required, or how many hours are required for that certification?
The advanced students, it's really up to the instructor, but the program we have set up right now is only 16 hours per student.
Okay.
But we do still have about 25 students, so that's still quite a few hours.
Yep.
The benefit to this too is, as we move forward and the way I see things is we start maybe doing EMT classes for the county fire departments, this would allow us to send our students there if they wanted to spend some time out there. I've got some of our students have said that if this goes through, they want to spend half their time at each facility to just kind of see how both hospitals treat things and how they do things. And we've made the offer to KCH in the past that if they run into something they need extra hands with, to call us and we'll come out and help. And we've made that same offer to Parkview. I think that's just part of being a good community member and a good partner. So
You're so right.
we're just trying to open those doors.
Yeah.
All right.
Kudos.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement with Parkview Health Systems?
I make the motion.
All right. Is there a second? Brandon, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed 3-0, and I once again abstain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
I'm assuming Board of Works already voted on this, or?
Who?
We have to vote on Board of Public Works?
No, it'll be going to the Board of Works.
Board of Works probably
Next
tomorrow.
Board of Works.
Yeah.
No, it'll be the next Board of Works.
Not tomorrow.
No.
Okay.
So they'll look at it as well.
Yeah, both these agreements, all contracts end up at the Board of Works. Yes. And again, this is more just an affiliation agreement laying out what is expected of both parties for just sharing facility services, that type of thing. All right. It doesn't appear there's any travel requests, which is good. Any other matters come before the board? All right. Appreciate everybody's patience tonight. We got 3 of 5 board members sworn in, and that will need to be done by the end of the month. So I'll have to get Gordy over here to maybe a Board of Works meeting, have him do that. He can come up to the office and I can do that, but I will need to be sworn in. I think what I might do is be sworn in tomorrow at the Board of Works meeting with our city attorney.
Okay.
But I'll have, Stacy's gonna have to change this, put his name on there. Would you, I'm gonna hand you this, Gordy's.
I will contact him.
Yes,
have him arrange the time. to
that'd be
come
great.
And see you.
And I'll take care of this one. All right. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thanks. Thank you all. Aaron, thank you for filling in. Yes, sir. Chris, always a pleasure to get your expertise on these items, and
Thank you, sir. I don't know how much of an expert I am, but I appreciate it.
I mean, you always sound like you know what you're talking about, so
That's the key, right?
I believe you. Yeah, that's right.
I was told.